Hello, my name is Spencer Stooksbury, and this is my eTech 562 Technology Integration Project. The target audience will be my U.S. history classes, which are 11th graders, and the topic we will be covering today will be the Civil Rights era. Specifically, we'll be exploring primary source artifacts. The technologies used in today's lesson, the students will be using iPads. I, as a teacher, will be using a projector, PowerPoint, or Keynote, the app Nearpod, YouTube, Wikipedia, the Classroom Weebly site, and Google Forms. This presentation is being recorded with Screencast-O-Matic, which is a free web-based app that you can get. So what I've done with this lesson is I've basically revamped a lesson that I've already done in my class, and it's always been a good lesson, but I felt like by integrating technology, it would be that much better and that much more effective and more engaging for the students. So I'll just get started with the lesson. The first thing the students would see when they come in my classroom would be this slide right here, letting them know that they need to get the iPad, their assigned iPad, out of the iPad cart, and their directions on how to authenticate their device as far as getting through the school Wi-Fi and getting through the school filter to where they can operate the iPad. They would have to go to Nearpod on their iPad and type in that code to join the session that I have live. And that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to take us to Nearpod. And you're going to see exactly what the students see as far as on their iPads, except I'll have it on my computer. Before we get to Nearpod, I forgot to mention, when the students are walking in to get the iPads, I will be playing a playlist from a website I use called Grooveshark, that you can create your own playlists. And for this particular lesson, I created a civil rights playlist. So I just searched for civil rights songs that I thought would put the students in the right mood. And so I'm going to show you guys how this works. And I'm just going to click play. And The Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke is what's going to be playing when the students enter the room, which I feel like really just adds to the lesson. But for presentation purposes, I'm going to pause the music so it's not a distraction. And we're going to go ahead and go to Nearpod, and I will show you how a student would log in. It would look different on their iPad. This is what you would see. Log in, they click on that, boom. Now they are in Nearpod. Okay. Okay, so here we are in Nearpod. And the way Nearpod works is I can control the presentation from my iPad or desktop. In this instance, I'm using my iPad to control the presentation, and you're seeing what the student would see as if you were in the lesson. So the first screen you see is the first slide in my presentation, which just says Welcome Nearpod. And I move to the second slide, and it asks you to log in. Now, it won't automatically have the student's name in there, so they need to put their name in there. And since my students are sharing iPads, they would be partners, so they'd have to put both their names. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and submit my name. Okay, and so it tells me, and I see it on my iPad now. So I see, and you see all the students as they sign in on your iPad. All right, so we'll go to the next slide, And the first image is my hook, which would be the first step in Gagne's 9 steps. Obviously, it's a picture of segregated water fountains, and I just asked the students how it makes them feel to kind of get a personal aspect of how this might affect them. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in ashamed That's all I type. And so what's cool about Nearpod is the student responds, and I can share these responses with the class. Now, if there were more than one student, I'm the only one, it's kind of hard to show the impact, but let's just say I decide I want to share this response. And I share it. Now you notice is my name is not on the response. So students get to respond knowing that their responses are anonymous. This really engages the entire class, and this gets the quiet kids or the less likely to participate kids totally engaged in a lesson. And I think that is what is truly revolutionary about Nearpod. But we'll move on. All right. Okay, the next slide in our presentation is a bigger, closer up picture. And what's great about Nearpod is that those responses, you can pick which ones you want to share with the class and choose to discuss it with the class. So you get a quite engaging conversation based on a prompt. All right, next slide. We will go over our learning objectives, which is part of Gagne's 9 steps as well. Breaking down primary source articles, evaluating the contributions of civil rights leaders, and discuss the impact of the civil rights era. That slide got cut off. Okay. All right, so primary sources. First of all, I would discuss for the class what a primary source is, what they know they are, what they know they aren't. And the next activity would be this gallery, which on an iPad is really cool because it's interactive. They can swipe it, but for our purposes, you'll see they see these documents and they have to analyze them. And for the sake of actually being able to analyze the documents, I've blacked out names, so you cannot see who these documents are directly associated with. And that's the whole idea. And so the next slide asks them what famous person was involved with the images you just viewed. And just based on the bus diagram, I would hope that most of my students would know it's Rosa Parks, which I think is pretty cool to look at the actual arrest documents and arrest records. Okay, so you discuss their answers and discuss why they thought who it was. And then the next slide in the video is a YouTube clip about Rosa Parks. Pretty cool.
Born the eldest.
Okay. And then the next clip, so we watch the video, they kind of get an idea what they're looking at. And then the next slide brings up the Wikipedia page on Rosa Parks. I know Wikipedia is not scholarly or anything like that, but the kids can get some good background on her, and we can give them a few minutes to read the Wikipedia page and then have an open discussion about it. All right, next slide. Primary sources 2. Once again, another gallery. These pictures they're supposed to analyze and try to figure out what in the world they have to do with the civil rights era. And I'll slowly let them know, hey, these are exhibits from a famous court case, things like that. And then they'd have to, on the next slide, what breakthrough event in history, and those were all photo exhibits from the court case, Brown versus Board of Education. Pretty cool. All right, so they answer that, I share them, we discuss, Then another video about Brown versus Board, where we discuss who's involved in the case. Wikipedia page about Brown versus Board. Then we have a picture of Jackie Robinson. They're supposed to tell me everything they know about him. The idea is that they really don't know anything but his baseball career. And so this activity is to get them engaged with how involved Jackie Robinson was in the civil rights era. And as you go through, you can see they can flip through all these different letters Jackie Robinson sent to 3 different presidents, from Eisenhower through LBJ. Pretty cool. All right, and then we read those aloud, and they'll have a hard copy in their hand to look at. Video about Jackie Robinson. Then we have a little personal question. Do you believe professional athletes, celebrities, have an obligation to take a stance on social issues in our country? It's a poll question, which when they answer, so I'll answer this, yes, send, and then I can share the poll results, which, in this case, it's just me, but it's really cool when the class is split, and then you can have a really good discussion about why or why not they thought that way. All right, and then there's an extension of trying to get them to link the past with the present. Current athletes, celebrities are actively involved in social issues in our country. Name of the person and their cause. Just more discussion to get them thinking about what they could do. And then I end the presentation with this awesome little video.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
So that's a really cool little song to wrap it up. That's it on Nearpod. Okay, the next part of the lesson would be them having to go to my Weebly website, and they would have to click on the student response page to take a quiz through a Google Doc, which they can either use their iPad or their smartphone, which is really cool. So I'm going to take us there now. So they get to the class website, which is called Coach Duke's History page. And you come over here and you go to the menu, and they're told to go to the student response page. That's where they do their quizzes. So they come here, and as you can see, there is a quiz ready for them to take. They'd have to type in their name, scroll through that, submit it. It goes to my Google Drive, where I see all the responses. There's also an app that you can add to your Google Drive to automatically grade responses, so it grades it for you. It's a great, basically wrapping up exit ticket accountability tool that I just started using at the end of last year. It's pretty awesome. And then, on top of that, we're going to have one more activity. It's a homework extension. And this is the homework extension. They're asked to write a journal entry as if they were a teenager living during the civil rights era. In order to submit this journal entry, they would have to go to the class website again, but this time they would need to go to my blog, which would be right here, U.S. History blog page. And you can see here, civil rights journal entry, write a journal. So the way they would do it is they'd have to add a comment, and that's where they would write their journal entry. And what's cool about that is other students can comment on their journal entries just like we do in our class. And that is the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's something that you would consider using in your class. I know I went a lot longer, but it was hard to do everything I have for my presentation in 5 minutes. So I did 15 minutes instead. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks.